Hey guys, Pitmaster here. I'm here with Vato, as always, and we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about UFC 228 and some of the things that I saw that maybe could help you, well not maybe, will help you become a better martial artist. Alright. First thing was the first fight on the main card. It was a duel against Nico Price. Now, this did not look good for Nico Price right off the beginning because you could just tell he was not committing. He was being kind of non-committal, like he just didn't have enough confidence in his KO power, and Abdul did. And then he made, that was mistake number one. Mistake number two, he let the fight go to the cage with his back against the cage. Why, oh why, would you ever want your back against the cage unless you're Ben Saunders? You just don't. There's no reason to be up against the cage unless you want to take a break, you want to turn it into a clinch game, you're trying to defend a takedown in a special way. But just to get against the cage when it's his plan, you play into his plan. You're part of his plan. If your back's against the cage, you don't have a particular plan. You could tell Nico didn't, and Abdul did. And that plan was to knock him out with power hooks. And the first hook that landed was a left hook, just perfect, and he started to go down. He was done. And then the right hand landed another left hook, and he was done. But what started it was
he backed up, huh?
He backed up against the cage, and you don't have as much leverage. You don't have as many options. You don't have as much momentum when your back's against the cage as you do when he's coming towards you. He has all the momentum and leverage in the world. I've got to get out of there. I don't really have much leverage. I could try to grab him. If I'm Ben Saunders, I'm going to grab a Muay Thai clinch and then knock him out with a knee. But Nico Price didn't have a plan. And anytime you guys don't have a plan in a fight or in life, I can get really deep, but in a fight, if you don't have a plan, you're part of their plan, your opponent's plan, or even worse, it might be your attacker's plan in the street. And if you don't have a plan to defeat them, you are part of their plan, and they're going to defeat you, and that's what happened to Nico Price. Now, let's skip into the main event. Darryl Till against Tyrone Woodley. I was nervous in this fight. I was pulling for Tyrone, but I don't know. I just saw those straight punches landing. I was like, oh. I was actually pacing before the fight. But Tyrone landed. Okay, check this out. He landed the H-bomb takedown, and that started it all for him. Okay, and I call it the H-bomb takedown because there's a lot of Olympic level and even Olympic medalists, wrestlers. I mean, the best wrestlers in MMA use this Dan Henderson's takedown. You see that as much as regular takedowns from Tyrone Woodley. How many takedowns does he even have regular, like doubles or singles? I think almost all his takedowns in the cage
right hand
have been by his H-bomb, the H-bomb takedown. Dan Henderson is known for his H-bombs, even though he was an Olympic level wrestler. But nobody thought of him as one. His last 30 fights, nobody would watch him fight and go, wow, that guy's a great wrestler. No, they would say, holy shit, that guy has a right hand.
Yeah, watch out for that right hand.
Everybody watch out for their right hand. You don't see these H-bomb wrestlers that are Olympic level wrestlers, they don't seem to have the left hook as much. It seems like they come with the right hand because they're used to the shots. I think they're used to pushing off their back leg, and they're used to throwing it over, you know, for hand fighting, underhooks, overhooks, whatever. But for whatever reason, a lot of those fighters, Yoel Romero, his power, and when I say H-bomb, it's your backhand. It's not a straight punch like Chuck Liddell, and it's not an overhand like Mike Tyson. It's something in the middle. They call it the H-bomb after Dan Henderson, but I call it an H-bomb takedown because even when it doesn't knock you out, it knocks you down.
You're down.
And that was, Tyrone tried for a couple of takedowns. I think he might have got one and he got back up.
He went for a body lock
and he
up
didn't
top
get it.
And he tried to hook it.
Okay, he didn't get it.
He failed twice.
So,
he didn't get it.
He didn't get the wrestler's takedown, but he got the H-bomb takedown. Yoel Romero got that against Robert Whittaker.
He did that against all kinds of people.
And even Cejudo, Olympic gold medalist, he throws the H-bomb takedown and gets people down. So
remember Johnny Hendricks?
Johnny
He was a
Hendricks.
southpaw though, but still.
He was a southpaw, but anytime you throw it with your backside, that is the H-bomb takedown. Johnny Hendricks used to get it all the time too. So for some reason, certain high level wrestlers adapt that H-bomb takedown, and it works really well. It's just a step in, and it's somewhere between an overhand right and a horizontal left hook or right hook. It comes in, it looks sloppy, but it knocks the shit out of people, or at least it knocks them down. And once a great wrestler like Hendricks, like Yoel, like Cejudo, like Woodley, or like Dan Henderson, once they get you to the ground, their positioning and their base is so good. So if they can take you down with that H-bomb takedown, you're done. I mean, you're done. And Tyron Woodley proved it in this fight. He couldn't get him down by wrestling with him, so he used his H-bomb takedown, got Till to the ground, and he just pummeled him until he moved it into a Darce choke, and it was over. So that is the H-bomb takedown that so many great wrestlers are adapting, and it was all after Dan Henderson. So anyway, it was a good card. I think the main card, I think all of them ended in knockout except for one.
I don't remember which one did not.
Yeah, I think, well, the girl, that was the most brutal one-punch knockout I've ever seen in a girls' fight. You saw a more brutal kick knockout by Holly Holmes against Ronda, but just when it, as a punch, that was brutal. And it was an H-bomb knockout. Yeah. Sometimes an H-bomb takedown turns into an H-bomb knockout, right? So anyway, it was a good card. That's what I got to tell you right now. Sensei UFC. Keep your back off the cage, number one. Number two, if you don't have a plan, you should always have a plan. If you don't, you're part of your attacker's plan or your opponent's plan. And number three, that H-bomb takedown is becoming the rage for the top level wrestlers out there. What do you think?
I agree.
Bing. Thanks for coming, guys. Make sure you subscribe and please comment. Tell me what you think about our video, because we're doing it for you. We're going to make you a better martial artist. Thanks for coming.